bar, and then a fight broke out. A flurry of fists, bodies flying through the air, crashing onto tables. I gripped my father's arm on the armrest. It was one cliff-hanging moment after another, one narrow escape after another, one plot twist after another, until at last a beautiful girl, unimpressed by Brass, entered the story. The two were soon captured by the counterfeiters, and the girl was now even less impressed with Brass than she had been. Before I knew it, the tables had turned. Brass had slipped out of the ropes that tied him to the chair, rescuing the girl and routing the counterfeiters. Suddenly, the special agent had the girl's admiration and her affection. The music swelled, the credits rolled, and the tail end of the reel threaded through the projector. A splash of white rinsed the screen, followed by the house lights. When we left the theater, it was dark. My father asked if I liked the movie, and I said I did. With the marquee lights behind us and the street lights ahead of us, we made our way home. He pulled out a small bottle of whiskey and took a swig, then another, before pocketing it. My father was not Brass Bancroft, not by a long shot. But I loved him. He was kind and good, at least to me. The Depression had taken away his dignity, his confidence, his manhood. But in return, it had given him to me. I leaned into him while we walked, tired and hungry and quiet. "How about a lift?" he asked. I nodded. He hefted me onto his shoulders, crossing his arms over my legs so I wouldn't fall off. I took in a chestful of the heavy night air, mingled with the smell of his skin, his hair, his breath. There was no place in the world I felt more secure, and no place in the world I would rather be. We walked past neighbors' houses and the supper-time smells that drifted out their open windows. By the time we were home, I was almost asleep. Yet something was waking in me, drawing me. Was it the selfless service of the agent to his country? Was it the danger, the intrigue, the foreign travel? Or was it the girl? Part 1. My Rendezvous with Death. Chapter 1. Just another day at the office. I have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade, and I to my pledged word am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous. Alan Seeger, I have a rendezvous with death. March 30, 1981. It had been almost 42 years since I saw that B-movie at the Tower Theater, and I was a Secret Service agent assigned to protect the actor in that movie, who was now playing the role of a lifetime, the President of the United States. For the past 18 years, I'd worked my way through the ranks in the service, investigating stolen checks, standing post, working shifts, doing advances. And now I was lead agent for the special detail that protected the President. When I was younger, I was fascinated by the poem, I Have a Rendezvous with Death by Alan Seeger. I had even memorized it decades ago, and have returned to it often. The poem makes the encounter with death seem as calm and natural as watching the trees return to life. When spring comes back with rustling shade and apple blossoms fill the air. Death is talked about not in cold, impersonal descriptions, but in warm terms such as rendezvous, and in personal images of death taking the poet's hand. For the poet, death is not an encounter to be feared, but an appointment to be kept. God is in it, hope is in it, and so is courage. There was another man enchanted by this poem. When John F. Kennedy returned from his honeymoon in October 1953, he read I Have a Rendezvous with Death to his young wife Jacqueline, telling her it was his favorite poem. After that, she memorized the poem, often reciting it to him privately. Her soft voice and unhurried accent seemed to calm him, giving him the resolve he needed to face the future he felt awaited him. In 1963, Jacqueline taught the poem to Carolyn, their 5-year-old daughter. On October 5, 1963, when the now President Kennedy was meeting with his National Security Council in the Rose Garden, his young daughter slipped into the meeting and sidled next to him. She tugged at him to get him to notice her. The president dismissed her, but in a way only a young daughter can, she kept trying to get his attention. The president turned to her, smiling. Carolyn looked into his eyes.